The Book of Tobias from the Old Testament. An Islamic Mughal depiction represents the Archangel Raphael. Raphael, in Arabic Israfil, means God heals. The characters in esoteric stories can all be recognized within our being. Why is the Archangel in us? And why does he hold a big fish in this picture? We find the story in the Old Testament. Two of the protagonists, father and son, have almost the same name, Tobias and Tobit. The older Tobias, married to Anna, is a good man. He gives alms, prays, and pitifully buries the corpses of foreigners who in those dark times were often left abandoned. In Tobias, the father, we can recognize one aspect of the steward: discipline, developed through personality, the observation of one's own faults, the effort to work on them. The steward exists on a higher level than the many eyes, that is, thoughts that happen randomly in our mind. It is characterized by attention toward the superior, but he is still human, tremendously fallible. One evening, after burying a few of the dead, he rests, exhausted, in the backyard. And there something happens that seems to punish him for his good deeds. Some sparrows smear his eyes with their excrement, spoiling them with white spots and making him blind. His wife Anna spins wool for the families in the village. One day, she comes home with a goat, which she received in addition to her pay for the good work she had done. Tobias hears the animal's cry and thinks it has been stolen. Disappointed, he wonders, where will we end up? Anna looks at him in frustration, since her husband doesn't believe her. These are hard times for the family. The father, old and blind, is convinced that he will die soon. He is worried about his son's fate and remembers leaving 10 bags of gold coins in storage for an acquaintance in a distant city. It is time for young Tobit to go to that city and collect the money, which will give him security for the future. The father, however, does not want to send the young boy on an adventure alone. He needs guidance. The young Tobit goes out to find someone who can help him, a guide, and immediately runs into Azrael, a wayfarer who happens to have all the requisites. He knows the country. He actually comes from there. He also knows the man they are talking about. For a fee, he will accompany the boy. In a modern story, we would begin to foreshadow a scam. Tobias wants to interrogate the traveler to make sure he is a trustworthy person, and the stranger lies. In fact, Azrael is not Azrael, but nothing less than the Archangel Raphael in disguise. The steward, Tobias, interviews the Archangel. The higher centers in us, presence. And he is deceived, because Raphael keeps himself incognito. The boy and the guide leave for the adventure. They walk until they reach the Tigris River. When they reach the river, Tobit dips one foot in the water, and immediately an aggressive fish bites him. At the same time, the Archangel whispers a command to him: grab the fish and don't let it get away. Without knowing and without understanding, Tobit obeys. The angel continues with his instructions and orders him to roast and eat part of the fish, salt the rest, and above all, to keep the liver, heart, and gall aside. The young Tobit too represents an aspect of the steward, not discipline and personality like his father, but essence. In the dramatic moment when the fish bites him, he trusts the voice of the angel, even though he does not know that he is an angel. He keeps the parts of the fish, even though he has no guarantee that they will serve any purpose. His virtue lies in being open to the superior. The archangel and the boy set off and continue their journey. This moment is depicted in many works of art, of different traditions, such as Byzantine, Russian or Coptic icons, medieval Italian Renaissance, or Flemish Golden Age, Rembrandt's age. Almost always the paintings emphasize the same elements: the angel, the young man, and the fish. A fourth character is the little dog, which represents the lower self kept at bay, tamed, faithful, which does not put obstacles to its presence. In this version of Verrocchio's workshop, the dog is almost transparent, immaterial. Thus they reach the city of Ecbatana, where the beautiful and virtuous Sarah lives. Sarah is unhappy. Although she has been married 7 times, she has never been able to consummate the marriage. A devil has each time killed her husbands on the wedding night. A servant girl has just poisonlessly insinuated that Sarah is the one who kills her husbands. The girl, desperate, decides to commit suicide. But then she thinks again. Her father's pain would be terrible. Sarah's character is the noblest part of the emotional center, here deprived of her connection with a husband from the devil. The evil lower self, the part in us that boycotts spiritual work. The archangel suggests staying the night at Sarah's house. He tells Tobit how beautiful and good she is, just a woman to marry. Tobit indeed likes Sarah very much. He immediately asks her father to marry them. The father takes time, hesitant, reluctant to bury an 8th husband. But in the end, he allows the wedding, at the same time calling some servants aside and ordering them to dig a grave in the courtyard, because tonight they will have one more dead man. The wedding is celebrated immediately. After the banquet, the bride and groom retire to the bridal chamber. The demon is lurking. But Tobit, at the angel's suggestion, takes the liver and heart of the fish and burns them in a brazier. The acrid smoke makes the devil flee, taking refuge far away, to the lands of Egypt, says the Bible. Instead of consummating the marriage, Tobit and Sarah agree to spend the night in prayer until they fall asleep. At dawn, a servant girl is sent to check whether Tobit has been killed. But to her amazement, she sees that they are both alive. A great feast is held to celebrate everyone's happiness. The archangel is sent to collect the 10 bags of gold, and everyone finally leaves. To announce the good news to Anna and Tobias, Tobit and the guide go on ahead. Here is Tobias as he hears the sound of the 2 travelers approaching. They are received with great joy. Tobit extracts the gall of the fish from the haversack, spreads it over the eyes of his father, and the substance takes hold of the white crusts. When he removes it, the crusts are pulled out, and Tobias is cured. It is then, at the end of his life, that the archangel can reveal himself. I have been sent to prove your faith, but God sent me at the same time to heal you. The archangel represents higher centers, the soul, World 12 and World 6. Rilke mentions the archangel and his history in the Duino elegies. Every angel brings terror, and yet my song calls upon you, you near deadly birds of the soul, knowing who you are. Where have the days of Tobias gone, when one supremely shining stood in a simple doorway, disguised a little for the journey and no longer frightening, young to the young one as he curiously peered out? Should the archangel, the perilous one, behind the stars, take a single step downward and toward us, our own surging hearts would slay us. Who are you?